Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. I'm here with my boy Cal. Today we're talking about the 10 classic DC comics that they should adapt for the Adventures with Superman. That's a new show. Well, it's been out twice, 2 years now. But hey, I'll
Yeah,
give my man, the Superman himself, my comic book hero, Cal. Cal,
yeah.
what's your take on this
It looks like it's new for you. See, hey, you guys got to understand. See, Superman's been on for 2 seasons. He has no idea the show's even been on for 2 seasons. Batman comes on one day, one day. Yeah, you're like, hey, did you see the new Batman animated Cape Crusader? I hear it's hot. I hear it's hot. Yeah.
show?
Anyway, we both know you're not that quick. That's why you got that Jamaica shirt, huh?
Well, it kind of explains since they ended up losing to Noah Lyles. But hey, what can you say?
Exactly. Exactly. I hope
This
you didn't
this
put
is
any
a
money on him.
punishment, but not to knock on my fellow, well, not my fellow, but Jamaicans out there. Hey, I still support you guys, even though you guys ended up losing or coming. Excuse me, not losing. You came in second. You're gonna be on the podium. So what can I say? Silver. But hey,
Yeah.
better
Hope
luck next time, right?
hope you didn't put any money on him again.
Hey, so what's your take on the whole My Adventures with Superman? Do you like it? And also, do you think there's some way they can adapt some of the more classic Superman stories out there?
Adaptations are always possible. Okay, that's just within the word adaptation. My take on the show, I don't. Some things I like, but overall, it's still a little lacking for me. I'm fully supportive of the show because it's animated. I think it's a great way for kids to get some knowledge and some introduction into Superman. I think a lot of people forget that when it comes to superheroes, most of us who love them, our first introduction to them was not reading because we couldn't read, but we could watch an animated series or see a film, those type of things, or play with some toys. Those type of things got our feet wet in terms of learning about this character. So I'm all for the animated series. Unfortunately, they're still doing this 1986 reboot stuff where they always want Superman to be perpetually in his first year, where he's still getting up to speed, he's learning this stuff, he's doubting himself. And I'm like, this is supposed to be Superman, not Superboy. If you want to do that stuff with Superboy, I think that's great. But their approach to Superman being more human is all of the things about being human that are, to be quite honest, lacking. Not the things about being a human being that are empowering. So that part, I have an issue with when it comes to the show. They changed his outfit, into some sort of. He looks like he's ready to go to Injustice, Gods Among Us, as opposed to being a superhero. So those particular things, I'm having some issue with. But I'm hearing a lot of, people, maybe people who aren't familiar with Superman as much as I am, are watching the show and enjoying it. So great. And then I think maybe once they get over the whole, well, we got to keep him grounded, they'll realize, hey, we can actually cut loose with this character and it's no problem. I think that's also a big issue some of these guys have when it comes to Superman, that they feel that they need to keep him in a certain pocket. And then they realize, oh, we don't have to do that. We can really do some things that are fantastic with him, and it's not going to be a concern.
So what are your best things about the show right now?
The best things about the show,
Why should I watch it? What would you
why
recommend?
should you why should you watch it? I can't give you a reason, you big hater. But if you're someone if you're someone who's new to Superman, this is a great way to get some understanding of the some of the better aspects of his character. He has a big heart. He is as powerful as he needs to be in order to save other people. It doesn't shy away. It doesn't shy away from his Kryptonian origins either. The Unfortunately, the Kryptonian origins seem to be that anyone aside of Superman and Supergirl, if they come from Krypton, we better watch out because these guys might just be, flat out evil, trying to take us over. Uh, but if you like, and the other thing I will say, if you're a fan of anime and those type of stylings, you know, those are things that are appealing. They definitely decided they would do a whole new take when it comes to designs with not Superman necessarily, but with Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and the villains that they decided to put on the show, even though they're really not using a lot of Superman villains. Most of these villains are other people's villains that they decided to retrofit for the show. But those some I mean, I don't know how positive that was, but those are some reasons that you might be able to get interested in it on first blush.
And so, what do you think? What stories do you think that you think would make this show that they should adopt? Like here in the CBR article, they're saying the 10 classic
Well,
show.
let's work with their list as opposed to me having to go off on the fly.
Okay, All Star Superman. That's
But that's already been adapted, so that doesn't make a lot of sense for this show. And All Star Superman, a lot of people may not realize, is effectively the last Superman story. In that story, he's dying. So I don't know if they really want to adapt that right now. They're going into season three. They may get a few. They may get, who knows how long the series may run. They may get 5 seasons, 6 seasons. Do you really want to think about killing them off now? Because that's effectively what All Star Superman was. So so that's something to keep in mind.
But they're not necessarily saying kill him off. But I'm saying here he's trying to do as much good deeds as possible, and the same thing
Mhm.
you say with him. That's what they're basically saying.
He's trying to do as much in All Star Superman. He's trying to do as many good deeds as possible because he's dying, and so that's really the big impetus. In All Star Superman, he comes up with a way to cure a whole host of conventional diseases, including cancer. But one of the reasons why he does it is because he's dying. So he knows that when he leaves this, it's done. Anything else human beings are going to have to be responsible for, as opposed to him being alive doing it, and they just keep looking to him like, "Hey, we'll solve this problem, solve that problem." So there is a big difference in terms of his motivations for doing these things.
Okay. What about Superman for All Seasons, the Jeff Loeb Tim Sales classic?
This show is pretty much Superman for all seasons already, where he's still learning it. He's still, going through the ropes, learning this stuff. Oh, I'm doubtful about this, and I got to find that inner strength. So there's no reason to adapt that one.
What about Secret Identity?
Again, the same thing. Secret Identity is a coming of age story, and this is pretty much along that line. So, nope. If it's a coming of age story, they're already in that line where we're still getting a very young, a very getting up to speed Superman. This is not a seasoned Superman who knows what he's doing, confident leadership. We're not getting that. We're getting somebody who's still very much in the early days of his career.
Got it. And we have another, I guess, coming of age. My Adventures with Superman. We'll delve into the Man of Steel,
John Burns, Man of Steel.
John Burns' Man of Steel.
Here's what I'm going to say right now. If you look at this list is very telling because either the stories have either been like early days stories or effectively the last story. There's no middle stories or anything of that nature. So everything is like, even if this show was not that, how many coming of age stories can you adapt? You're going to adapt Superman for all seasons, Secret Identity, and then all the other ones that are all coming of age stories. You could probably do that, maybe do an amalgamation of them, but it's telling because whoever's compiling this list, the stories that they think are the best are those early days stories, these origin stories, and then the alpha and omega type stories, the beginning, and then the all-star Superman, the end. So that's very interesting in terms of this compilation that we're using.
What about like this one here? He has Superman and the Legion of Superheroes. That's his number one choice, actually.
That would be great, but Superman and the Legion of Superheroes is predicated on Superman having a career as Superboy, and he has a relationship with the Legion of Superheroes because he had a childhood adventuring with them as Superboy. If you do it now, he meets it for the first time as Superman. They don't have any relationship. And one of the reasons why that series was so good is because they reintroduced the Legion. They reintroduced the Legion back into Superman's life as his friends once more. And there were 6 issues written by Jeff Johns with great art by Gary Frank. And it was a return home. He once again was like, oh, yeah, I remember. I had a career with the Legion. They all remembered him. It was a very well written series. But the biggest thing was it worked because of the relationship that he's had with these guys for years that had been pretty much erased. And then when it was reconnected, it's like they never missed a beat. So that's one of the reasons, that's the major reason for me why it worked so well. Because otherwise he would just be meeting them for the first time and it would just be like an offshoot adventure. But that was a return home, to old friends. You know, and then when you get home, you like realize, man, there's some stuff that's really out of sorts. but it was nice to see everybody playing off each other again.
That's really wild because the whole thing is that they know what's going to happen to Superman and Superboy. When he's Superboy, he goes to the Legion, and here they go back and they meet him again as Superman. So it's kind of like, you know, they know the history, what's going to happen. Do they know about themselves being part of that history? But it's a pretty interesting concept. Probably figure it out one of these days. Here's another one for the man who has everything. This is an old one.
Been adapted already. I don't know if they really. And again, this is something where you. I don't know. Would this work?
Alan Moore? I don't think so, but
I don't know because they've already adapted it. Batman and Wonder Woman also feature in this story. And to be honest, you could take them out and see if you could adapt it with just Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. You could see if how much that works. Um, I'm not sure. I think they could do it. I think if they have the creativity, they could actually do this one. And it's one of the few. And it's one. I think it could. I think they could adapt it. I think they could. It could work, but they would have to keep things circumspect of the roles that Wonder Woman, Batman, and Robin played in the original.
but hold on. We're talking about Alan Moore here. You don't think it's going to turn out to be a little darker version of the story?
No, that for the man who has everything wasn't a dark story. It was definitely a serious story, but it wasn't dark. The whole idea was that Superman gets his fondest wish that Krypton never blew up. But then it's not real. So his own subconscious is working against it because he knows that it's not real. So this Krypton that he's imagined, this Krypton that he's been given is imperfect. And so it slowly but surely starts to unravel. There's a whole bunch of negative things that just start creeping into it, but that's because it's not real, it's not genuine, and his subconscious knows it. And so slowly but surely, he's breaking free of it on his own with some help on the outside from Batman and Robin.
So here we have the classic thing of, is it better than some of the other series that you find? We're talking about animated as well as TV series. What is your take on My Adventures? When you compare
More so that
those to
when I
those,
compare,
not even talking about adapting a story, but what do you think of their comparison with existing Superman shows and animated shows?
the best Superman animated series were the Fleischer cartoons. Nobody's done anything better than that. The it's hmm, I suppose the only other one that people are really familiar with is the Bruce Timm series, Superman the Animated Series. I didn't really care for that. Maybe like a handful of episodes I thought were very good. It's better. I I still think it's better than the Bruce Timm stuff, but still a far cry from the Fleischers. So it's in between. It's not. It's average. It's average. Whereas I thought that the Tim stuff, even though people liked it, was giving us a, a, a lower grade, lesser product of Superman. This is actually a bit. This is actually a little bit better, but they still have their issues.
And how does it compare to some of the live action shows?
It doesn't. Live action and animation don't compare.
No, I mean you could send people like certain things. I'm just saying, how do you compare it if you were watching? Hey, which one would you end up watching? One over the other.
If I had to choose between this and Man of Steel, I'll choose this every time.
Wow. Okay, didn't expect that to come out of your mouth. Didn't expect that. So overall,
Yeah,
you
and I'm
recommend.
certain you didn't expect to lose all that money on Jamaica today, did you? Did you?
We put limits on how much can be lost. Okay. So, would you recommend it?
Yeah, yeah, I would recommend it. If you come in with an open mind, if you're like me and you're a hardcore Superman exponent, if you still come in with an open mind, open to enjoying things, then yeah, I think it's something that you can enjoy. And if you're somebody who's on the other end, I think Superman sucks, but you come in with an open mind, I think there's a lot of stuff to be enjoyed, even though I'm still very critical of the things that I think they're not doing well.
Okay, that sounds good. So, hey, you heard it from the man himself, Cal. I defer to Mars. Um, what always say? He says it's pretty good. I say, hey, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Let's follow what he's saying. Spin rack.
Hey, we're out.
We're out.
Man, this story is out of hand.